Hello, everyone, and welcome to this masterclass covering the report writer in the context of both Sybiz Vision and Sybiz Visipay. And yeah, essentially what we're going to cover today is give you a bit of an overview, talk about some of the security considerations, a little bit about the report templates, and then just swing through various tips and tricks to do with the report writer. I should just say as well that we're not pitching this at advanced users. It's designed for novice users. And yeah, essentially, it's mainly we don't expect to teach people everything that they need to do to create a report from scratch. But yeah, certainly if there's certain things that you want to do in terms of tweaking your existing reports, then this is what this session's all about. Some of the stuff may get a little bit technical with some queries and things like that, and some concepts that we're hopefully keeping it mainly to like at Excel level. So if you've written a couple of little formulas in Excel, then you should be confident having a bit of a play with the report writer tools. Now, just about the report writer tool in both the Sybiz products is that it's using a technology from DevExpress called Extra Reports, and it's a third-party tool that's used uh, all around the world and has been around for years. And so the good thing about that is they do have quite an extensive knowledge base. So if there's something that you don't quite know what to do, if you jump into your favorite search engine and just search for DevExpress extra reports, and then whatever it is that you're looking to get some more information on, it should take you to a pretty decent hit on the knowledge base of the folks at DevExpress. So that's where you can get a little bit more information. There's a lot more to the extra reports than what we include in Sybiz Vision, and yes, so it can get quite extensive, and but yeah, there's a lot of information out there. That's, I guess, the key point there. And in terms of the reports that we're covering in this webinar, it's going to be looking at your standard reports. So from a Sybiz Vision context, that's like your trial balance. From Visipay, something like your pay history, and then your transaction documents. So again, from Sybiz Vision, that's something like a sales invoice, and from a Visipay perspective, you've really only got the one transaction document being the pay slip. And then we'll also have a look at custom reports as well. And yeah, I must admit, putting this webinar together, I don't really do a lot in the report writer these days because most of my reporting comes from non-reports. So I've obviously got my key financial reports that we run on a monthly basis through report sets. But other than that, most of the reporting that I rely upon in my day-to-day comes from things like custom grids and inquiries, dashboards, and analytics. Um, but yeah, so we'll jump into it. And yeah, essentially, apologies in advance. We're doing a live demonstration today rather than what we normally do in terms of screen tours. My PC is very temperamental and it's having a bad day, so apologies for that as well. And also, I'm running in a different resolution than I normally would, so my muscle memory may see me fumbling at points. So again, apologies for that, but bear with me. Okay, on to the security considerations. And so essentially in both Sybiz Visipay and Sybiz Vision is the data pipelines are restricted to the relevant report. So instead of giving you access to all of the information in the database, so if, for example, if you allowed someone to edit a report, let's just say you want them to edit a report in your stock ledger, but you don't want them to access any information in the general ledger, then that's where the report pipelines come into play to restrict the data that's accessible within the report designer itself. Um, and yeah, just contrasting that, we'll talk about it a bit more when we get to custom reports. But custom reports, essentially, if you are going to let someone create or edit custom reports, they essentially have the access to the query writer, which would expose the entire database. Um, and just another point as well that the reports are securable individually. So just a little screen grab on the right-hand side. We're letting someone add different flavors of the sales by product and sales details reports. but they can only access certain other reports, and some reports we're not wanting them to access at all. So someone in the sales role, for example, we don't want them sending the customer statements. That's something more so for the accounts receivable team to handle that sort of stuff. So that is just a bit of an overview, and as well with the custom reports. And also your other customizations, as I said, that does expose the query editor. Okay. Yeah, so the bottom line is just think about your security. We have a bit of an internal policy that when we make a change to any security rights, is that we uh, restrict them as much as possible to start with, and then as people need more and more stuff, that comes into a bit of a consultation phase. Rather than giving people access to everything, we just go, okay, what do you need this new area of the software for? And we'll have a chat about it before we decide whether to grant those rights or not. So yeah, just a bit of a recap as well is that the rights in both Sybiz Visipay and Sybiz Vision are conveyed via roles, and those roles are then attributed to the users. Okay, report templates. And again, this is common across both products. And what we do in our design is we always preserve the original format. So what that means from a fiddling point of view and having a crack at editing some reports yourself is that you never touch the original. You can only clone it. So the good, um, I guess, positive about that is that you can go your hardest. And if you stuff something up royally, it doesn't matter. The original report's still there. And the other point just to make on that as well is that if you are wanting to, say, make some adjustments to a report that you've already customized yourself, or perhaps someone else has customized it and you want to give it a bit of a tweak yourself, you can clone that copy and then work on that copy of the copy. And again, you've got that same protection that it doesn't matter what you do. If you stuff it up and have to start from scratch because you've made a copy of it, it doesn't matter. The copy that you're working off is still there. So that's a good way to sort of have some confidence if you do want to do a bit more in the report writer in the Sybiz products. And yeah, we always recommend, even if you are doing a little tweak, because sometimes you'll get in there and go, okay, we've got a new logo or something, and then you'll say, oh, actually, I don't like that. I'm going to tweak that as well at the same time. And before too long, you might do a bit more than you were expecting to do. And yeah, so you want to sort of protect yourself. And essentially what you do, yeah, you clone it as you clone it before you modify it, make all your changes. If you're happy, what I recommend is that you then deactivate the original version that you worked off, make your current version active, and then give it a week or so. Just make sure that everything's okay. And then you can get rid of the old version if you want to. You don't actually have to. You can leave it there. But yeah, I would recommend just having that sort of extra layer of protection and make sure that you're always working off a copy of the report that you're wanting to adjust. So yeah, that big upside there is, as I said, you can experiment on your clones without interrupting the live version. So let's just have a look at what that all looks like. So I'm just going to jump in to I've got, and apologies as an alt tab, I've got about 15 things. So we'll jump in to, let me see, I'll go to this one. And that's not the one I wanted. So I'm going to go, there we go. Yeah, so essentially what I'm going to do is just go into this balance sheet here, just double click. And the concepts are pretty much the same across both products, as I said. So this one here, I've already created a copy. Now, this is one thing that I wanted to point out as well, is that you shouldn't just leave it as copy, because you might have 5 or 6 different versions. What I'm going to do though is just show you your out of the box experience where I don't have a copy at all, and I okay that, and that's now gone. I've clicked that delete button and it's now gone. So all of my hard work is is undone. So just be very careful in clicking the delete. That is a secureable write as well. So I'm going to go copy that again. And in this sense, what I'm going to do is, yeah, I've got my balance sheet, but what I want to do is I don't want an entire balance sheet. I just want to see a copy or have a copy of the balance sheet that just shows me my cash accounts or my bank accounts. So I always recommend just yeah, rename your report as soon as you clone it. So in 3 years' time, if you go back to play with it again, you remember what it's called and what it's there for. So I'm just going to call this bank accounts and then go into the little triangle here to edit. So essentially what we'll be doing here is and again, this is my computer taking its time. Sometimes throughout this demonstration, this will take like half a second, and then other times it just takes longer, thanks to the machine that I have. So essentially, as I said, what we're going to be doing in this demonstration is just taking the balance sheet and effectively just creating a subset that just shows us our bank accounts. So obviously it's not going to, even though it's a balance sheet that I'm basing this report on, it's being used for a totally different purpose. My balance sheet in this flavor will no longer balance, of course, because I'm only going to be showing the bank accounts. Yeah, I did not expect it to take this long, but what we'll do is just jump back to the PowerPoint while that is thinking about what it's doing. So yeah, essentially we've shown you the cloning. Now we're going to be modifying, and then we'll be also showing you the saving and importing of the templates. So if you're totally not confident with anything that we show you today, at the very least, one thing that you will be confident with is the importing of templates, because if you say that you want your business partner to design the report modifications for you and they do it on their own system and then they email that template to you, then we'll show you how to import that template as well. So hopefully it's woken up now. Where are we? Yes, there it is. Beautiful. Okay, so this is the report editor if you've not seen it before, and if you are on a slightly older version of Sybiz Vision, you won't see the reports looking as pretty as they do now. So just a little bit about the interface before we get into it. And I must admit, some of these things I've never used down the left-hand side, but the pointer is what we've got at the moment. The label, I'll just go back to the pointer. So the labels dotted throughout various parts of the system. So here we've got a label that's already there. So yeah, we've decided to call this something else because yeah, we don't want to call it balance sheet anymore. So because what we're looking to do here is we're just wanting banks only. So that's what I'm going to call that. So that was just invoking that cog. There are other ways you can double click on it and just type straight in as well. So at this point in time, I've made a modification to the report. If I figure I've totally stuffed that up, I can jump out of it, and that's no dramas at all. Currency is a specialized label that comes pre-formatted for currency, so you don't have to set formats each time that you put a field on the report that is currency based. The checkbox is pretty self-explanatory. Rich text allows you to essentially just put some rich text from a file on to the report itself. Picture box will show you in a moment in the context of a logo change. And then a panel will show you that in a different report, but that's essentially grouping a number of controls together. A table, we'll talk about that a fair bit at these reports now compared to the previous reports. Anything that's in a sort of row basis is now in the reports as a table. The big advantage of that is that when you export the report, because it's in a table, it's going to play a lot nicer if you export it out to a spreadsheet, and we'll demonstrate that a little bit later on as well. Then you've got some other things as well, like lines and shapes to make it look a bit pretty, etc., etc. And we'll talk about a couple of these other things as we go as well. But for now, that's just the types of controls that you have within the report writer itself. And yeah, so from here, what we want to do, as I said, we've come in here to do a specialized version of our balance sheet that's for bank accounts only. So I'm going to show you, yeah, this is something that, yeah, if you're like me, you'll probably forget where it lives, but just in this top left-hand corner here, what we're wanting to do is we're wanting to filter this report now and add a condition to basically say, is bank, and there's a, because it's a yes no field, I'm just going to say yes. So essentially now this report is filtered to only show me the accounts that are bank accounts. So if I want to, I can now do a print preview of that. And there we go. I've only got my bank accounts now. But you see, I've got total assets, net profit, net equity. That's now no longer relevant. So I can go back to my designer. So yeah, when you are running the report designer, you can sort of toggle between the design and the preview to yeah, do what you want to do and then see how it looks. So now I've got these parts of the report that I don't want to actually see. So there's a couple of different ways to do it. I can just delete an element if I don't want to see it, but I can also change the visibility setting. And then, so we've just got the one left now. So I've deleted one. I've changed the visibility setting on another area of the report that I no longer want to see. I can flick back to my print preview, and yeah, I've still got the net profit and net equity, which I don't want to see. So I can go back to the report designer, and yeah, again, I've got that choice of just deleting if I wanted to, and go back to the print preview. And that's my report as I want. It's my general ledger banks only. So even though I started with the balance sheet, I've got just my bank accounts that are showing now in this report. So now that I'm happy with it, I'll save it. And I also recommend doing a save layout as well. The main reason for that is that if one of your colleagues was mucking around with the report at the same time, there is some there is a possibility that you may be conflicting with each other. It's fairly unusual that that would happen because there is also some protection there that people can't edit the same report at the same time. But just best practice is to do a save layout once you're happy with it, and then save the report and close. So I'm just going to save that now. The other thing before we jump out of here and just sort of see how we run it back at the main part of the screen is import layout is that sort of flip side. So so what I might do is just to complete this, if I'll go save layout and go import layout, the files there. So you could email that to someone else, or if you have multiple companies within your group or multiple databases rather, and you wanted to have that same banks only version of your balance sheet in all those companies rather than have to make those modifications in each one, you can just save the layout and then import that layout into each of the other companies. So I'll just give you a quick dem of that. So I'm just going to close out of that now. What I'm going to do is I'm going to actually create another copy of the original. And I know I said I should change the name as the first thing I do, but I'm going to contradict myself here. Go back into the report designer. See, it's a bit quicker that time. And then do the import layout. And there we go. Print preview. And so now I've got that layout through that import process. So again, if you're not confident making edits and your business partner sends you a file to import, that's as easy as that process is. And so now I'm just going to I'll get rid of that one that I don't want anymore. And now I'm just going to preview from the designer itself, or from the UI itself. And there we go. That's my banks only. A point to make out, just to point out at this juncture, is that with report sets, and if you're not using report sets, you should be using report sets. You can add multiple versions of the same report. We'll try and get to that later if we've got time. I'll show you how to do that. But yeah, essentially, you can have multiple versions of the balance sheet. And so you can add that bank accounts only version of your balance sheet to a report set as well. Okie doke. Now we're going to jump back to PowerPoint and talk about logos. So it's slightly different in Sybiz Vision and Sybiz Visipay. So I'm just going to show you in the context of Visipay. And excuse me while I just get there. Okay, so yes, that's just in your settings area, and it's a little bit clunky to find in Visipay if you don't go there that often. But I've got already got an existing copy of my payslip with the logo, and so the scenario that I've got here is that the logo's been changed, and we're just wanting to update the layout of the logo in the payslip within Visipay. So I've got my report design logo here, and yeah, so what I'm going to do is change that logo. So we've got a new version that we want to install. We want to do this square one, so I'll add that in, and you'll see it's sort of occupied that same area there. I've got different sizing options here. So I've got normal, which would, because it's a much bigger image than the area that it provides for, it looks white at the moment, but it's just the white space at the edges that's actually showing there. I can stretch the image, which we don't want to do because we lose the aspect ratio. I can auto size, which makes it, that's how big it wanted to be all the way over there. And that's just a bit too doing my head in. If I then change to, because it's now stretched to that, it will try and occupy that space there. So what I want to do is use my undo and get back to where I was and use one of the other options of just basically squeezing that again. I can then obviously make any other modifications that I want. I can go and just change it and just put it on the right hand side there. It's a good idea when you're dealing with images to know what the dimensions of the image are, and that yeah, that's important in the vision context as well, which we'll hopefully have time to show you in passing in vision. So. Yeah, just while we're here, there's a couple things coming up for Visipay in Australia. So if you've got, there's a standard field on the templates about the reported super expected paid by date. That's going to be no longer relevant under payday super. So you could, yeah, just delete this when that time comes around. So you might want to edit your pay slips in the new financial year. So that would be something that you might want to get rid of. And similarly as well, just show you another concept here where STSL is something that is now being incorporated into the tax scale. So it's not being calculated separately. So that can be a little bit confusing for people that were used to seeing STSL on their payslips. So because it's now no longer relevant, you can just simply delete those figures. Delete those fields. But if you want to reprint a payslip that's not in archive, then you might still want to show what the STSL was at the time. So what you can do is you can do a little formula, which I'm going to do here. So this is what's called the expression editor. It is quite powerful. And so you can set visibility on individual items within the report. Using, as I said before, we try and keep the what we're doing today to Excel level kind of level. So the field is total help. So I'm basically saying if total help is I'll just say not equal to 0, then we're going to show it. So 1 for true, 0 for false. And I'm just going to copy that because there's two controls that I want to apply that to. So I'm just going to say OK. And then this next one, I'm going to click on my little expression editor as well. I'm going to go to visible, paste that in, and OK. So that will give me that best of both worlds in terms of going forward. It won't show STSL at all, but if I reprint a payslip from days gone by when STSL was calculated separately, it will show when I produce that payslip. Okie dokie. So what I will do now is just go back to the PowerPoint presentation. Where are we? Sorry. I told you I was no good at having a different resolution. Okay, so yeah, so it's basically logos. Now suppressing output, that was just an example that we gave you of suppressing output by using the expression editor. So we won't actually show you the uh, aspect of the or yeah, the serial number section. If we have time, we'll come back to that because it's basically giving you the same thing that we just saw. But we'll show you another couple little bits and pieces. So now in the context of the Sybiz Vision sales invoice. So yeah, essentially here, went to the wrong invoice. Okay, so I'm just going to close out, or actually before we close out of here, what we will do is we'll just explain some concepts. So as I said, we can add some sections. We'll do. I'll contradict myself, and we will add the serial number section here. So I've got serial numbers as a detail report that I can add to my detail area. And what I want to do as well is I want to add a group header to that as well, so I can put a little description as to what these random numbers are that are about to be shown. Couple of things as well. This isn't the best way to do serial numbers. There is a serial numbers text field here, which that if I guess the difference is if you're selling stuff that you might only have one or two serial numbers per line item, then what I'm doing now is probably the best way to go. But if you're selling items that have you might have 50 serial numbers for one line item, then you'd be wanting to use the serial numbers text instead, which just creates like a comma separated list of them. But I'm going to go with what I'm in the middle of doing, which is I'm just going to call this serial numbers. One thing that's going to be a bit tricky to see, but we'll see how we go. As I drag this item here, you'll see I've got little, hopefully you can see I've got little pink lines there now. That means it's aligned with the control directly above it that the pink line is extending to. So that means I'll get nice alignment if I have notes as well. Similarly, I could drag it back to the left-hand side, and when it lines up with the line code, I can see that that's in alignment there. So that's just my header for serial numbers. And now I want to actually get the serial number field there as well. So I'll go into serial numbers. I've only got a couple bits of detail. Audit number, yeah, very rare that that would be relevant, but so yeah, I'm just going to drag that on there. I could make that the same width. There's a couple of things as well that you can do with these controls is if I just go into here, you've got can grow, can shrink, auto width. So I'm just going to put auto width on, maybe even can shrink as well. So yeah, so there's a couple of things there, multi-line as well, where it'll allow you to have multiple lines and word wrap, very similar to Notepad in terms of those concepts. So now I've got my serial numbers set up on my form here. The other thing that I'd like to do is just yeah, essentially put some logic in to say, okay, I don't want to see like yeah, see these words or whatever if I don't have any serial numbers at all. So again, I can go into my expression editor and then just put in the if condition again. So it's an if with two I's. and yeah, start typing. So serial number, then again, same sort of logic. So I'm just going to say if it's greater than 0, show it. If not, don't. And again, because there's a couple controls, I'll go Control C. Not to confuse the issue too much, but because I have set the can shrink property on this particular item here, it would actually not occupy any further space, even if I don't put in this little visibility formula here, but I'll put that in just for the sake of argument. And so we'll just save that one and close out of the designer there. And I'm just going to OK and OK. So before I OK again, I've got 2 active templates for my sales invoice. So there's one that will show, so the one that we were just in with the red text, that will only show if the sales value is greater than $1,000, and I'll just show that in action. So I've got 2 lines here. I'm just going to, for simplicity, I'm just going to drop the price to $50 here. So my total now is less than 1,000. So if I go and do my draft print preview, and I'll do my normal sales invoice preview. So this is just very close to the out of the box one. It doesn't have the red text at the top, and it doesn't have my serial numbers listed for me. So that should hopefully be popping up soon. So my total sales is less than $1,000 at the moment, and yeah. Okay, I think it's coming now. Yeah, I was just asked before this webinar by one of the moderators, like, why don't you replace your machine? And I gave them the same answer I'll tell you guys. I've had it for almost 3 years, which is kind of what we work to in Sybiz, and I'm a tight accountant, and so I can't justify getting a machine just a new machine just because it does this on it. It's probably 1 day a week I have this kind of fun with it. Just going to Alt Tab, just make sure I haven't popped that up somewhere. Oh yeah, there it is. Okay, so that's popped up as my draft. You see it hasn't got the red text up here. I don't have my serial number section. If I try and do my big sales only template, which hopefully will be a lot quicker. Okay, I think that's, yeah, that didn't do anything because there was nothing for it to do. And apologies again. Okay, so now if I come back here and just change the price to 200, my value now is over $1,000. And if I do a big sales only print preview, got my red text up here, and I've got my serial numbers listed here. I've only got 1 serial number there. If I now delete this line item, and then I'm going to change the price of this to $1,000 each, and now do my draft print preview. So I'm still over 1,000. It's not saying, it doesn't even say the serial numbers text there anymore because I've put those formulas in place. So that's just one little concept to do with adding another section to the report and suppressing output if it is no longer relevant. So I'm just going to jump back into the designer and just show a couple other concepts as well. And just going to show the putting the logo into a Sybiz Vision file. So I'm going to go to my field list. I'm going to go to company, and I'm going to go to my company logo, and I can just drag that over to where it is. And as I said before, it's a good idea to know what size or what dimensions your logo is. So I do know that. So I'm just going to put in those dimensions so that my logo will look nice and neat, and just fix it up a little bit. So I've now added a logo, and so the advantage in Sybiz Vision, and again, because you've got multiple transaction documents as opposed to Visipay, is that you've got that centralized logo that you can access from all your different reports. And the other thing that I wanted to show you here as well is just calculated fields. So I've got in this database here, I've got a company name and a trading name. And yeah, this is probably not the best example, but just to give you an example of using an expression editor to change what is shown on the form based on various conditions. So I'm essentially saying here, okay, if the username is administrator, which I'm logged in as the administrator at the moment, I want to see the trading name rather than the company name. But if I'm not the administrator, let's just show the company name. So that's the way that that works. And what I want to do is just change what this particular field is referencing. And that's my calc name field instead of the company name field now. So now I have my logo. I've got my conditional display based on my calculated field as to what I'm going to see for the name of the company. And again, save. Again, best practice is to save the layout as well. But I won't do that because we've done that enough already. And then just OK and OK. And again, we're above the $1,000. So when I do my draft preview, I will then see the logo, and it says webinar company instead of demonstration company that we saw previously. Okie doke. So that's that. Sorry for all the jumping around, etc. And yeah, so we've seen all of those things. And again, yeah, there's some things you'll be confident with, others you'll go, no, that's too hard. I'll get my business partner to do it. But it's just to sort of show you some of the concepts that are available. So again, the calculated fields, we've just seen that, and that's what we've done where we've shown the trading name rather than the company name. Copying elements between templates. Yeah, probably just verbalize this rather than demonstrate it, but essentially, if you were happy with various elements on one template and you wanted to copy them across to another, you can do that, but just bear in mind that the data pipelines may be different. Not so much with things like the company details, but yeah, certainly when you get into transaction lines and things like that, it isn't really conducive to copying and pasting those items across, but it can be done. But yeah, again, it's just that sort of generic stuff. So if you got your header details with the company name and logo and everything looking all nice and pretty, and you didn't want to have to sort of do that manually in all of the other reports, you can then just copy those elements from one report to another. If you're logged in as two users at the same time, makes that a lot easier. If it is just a subtle change, then it's quicker and easier just to manually redo them. And yeah, so that's just something that is possible as well. Tables versus labels. So what I'm going to do is just show that in the context of a purchase order. And there we go. There's my purchase order. Okay, so this is a purchase order with a couple lines, and essentially what we're doing here is this particular supplier, they have a website that we can just import. It's a B2B situation, so we can just import a CSV. All they want to know is what product do you want to order and how many of them do you want. So it's just a simple CSV export we want to do. So what we've actually done is we've got our normal purchase order, and then we've got a CSV purchase order, and I'm just going to go in and edit that and edit this CSV. And so Just one thing that I want to point out here, I've basically got rid of everything else from this report. I again do have the ability to make this area visible because this is, I just wanted to leave some residual items on this report just to sort of let you know that this was a purchase order template when it started life, but I've got rid of everything apart from this, and of course the two fields that I want to keep. So now I'm just going to delete that because it's no longer relevant to what I need. I can even delete the page footer as well if I wanted to as well. So all I've got is just the detail. So essentially here I've got these still labels rather than a table. So I just wanted to sort of show the advantage of using a table rather than labels. So I'm going to leave them as labels just for the purpose of this demonstration. And I'm just going to OK out of that. And then I'm just going to do do a draft email preview of the CSV. And I'll explain a couple of the bits and pieces as well in a moment. I'll just make sure that hasn't sort of popped up elsewhere yet. Okay, that'll just take a little moment as well. So essentially when you do email previews, etc., it will, not there yet. It will allow you to set, or you can sort of set what export format you want in the report itself. Where are we? Still thinking about it. It was not this slow previously, but this machine is possessed. Okay. Right. Okay, here we go. That has to be a record for how long that has taken. I will throw this machine out. I won't name the brand that I have, but I did have an Apple for my previous two machines, and they were delightful. I would rather my Apple from 10 years ago than this piece of whatever. Okay, so I've got an email preview here with the CSV. Now, if I open up that file, it actually didn't do what I wanted it to do because, what can happen and what did happen previously was that because I was using labels rather than tables, I was essentially getting this output of the quantities were actually shown in column C rather than column B, which is not what we want. And the irony of it behaving itself in the demonstration is not what I wanted either. So sorry, I'm just going to flick back to purchase order. And then we'll go into the designer, and I'm just going to show you the concept that I was hoping to be able to demonstrate. I've created a CSV copy just to sort of show you how to set it up in tables as well. So now I've got a table. So all I did there was essentially just grab the table, drag it and drop it there. Don't worry about too much about where you put it to start with. And then you just go into each individual cell and you say, okay, I want to use the line code, or it could be the supplier part number, and go into the next cell and say, now I want to use the quantity ordered. And I don't need the third table cell, so I can just delete that. And then that's essentially what I did to get these two fields here. But now it's behaving itself. I'm just going to get rid of that. And again, just get rid of that as well. So just to show you a couple of the little bits and pieces while we're in here, you have, apologies, I just sort of, get my way back to where I wanted to get to. Sorry, I'm just remembering the element that I want. Oh, hang on, sorry. It's on the whole report itself. So sorry, that's a good demonstration there. If you are on a particular element, what you see down in your properties is different as you cycle through. So because I want to do something at the entire report level, I want to go to my export options and go down to my where are we? print preview export options. So the default send form, that's send as CSV because that was the output that I wanted. So when I email this particular transaction document, I've got it set it as CSV, and it could be various other formats as well. But because I want a CSV email to upload onto a website, that's what I've configured there. Okay, so we'll just jump back to PowerPoint. And yeah, I should have just mentioned I'm no good at multitasking as well, but you've probably figured that out. Okay, and yeah, just a couple other little bits and pieces before we wind up is just some spreadsheet friendly tips. So we did talk about that earlier when we looked at the balance sheet, but we'll go back to the balance sheet. Or actually, no, we'll look at a profit and loss this time, I think. So we'll go to the profit and loss statement. Actually, wrong version of Vision because I've got two copies open. Okay, there we go. And okay, so here I've got a copy, and I'm just going to jump into the designer. And so if we go to print preview, and let's just go export to PDF. And we'll just save that. You want to open this file? Yes. Yeah, you'll see we've got everything looking pretty, which is cool if we want it as a PDF. But if we now go export to XLSX, same thing. We'll open that up. You'll see we don't have the header. Everything's nicely laid out in columns. We don't have all of these little columns everywhere. And so it's much more friendly exporting to a spreadsheet than it was in previous versions of Vision. Yeah, so we'll just show you a little bit about how to, if you do have your own custom reports and you are on the latest version of Vision, or at least version 26, there's a few little bits and pieces that come into play. So here I'm just going to click on the page header, and I'm going to go sorry, just gotta find what it is I'm looking for again. Where are we? No, sorry, that's not what I wanted. It's going to be the individual elements here is the can publish options. So here it's basically saying, okay, if I'm going to be outputting this report to either CSV or SLX or XLSX for Excel, I don't want to see this, but if it's any other format like PDF, etc., I'm happy to see this particular element. You can also do a multiple select on the elements as well. And if they're similar enough, you can make those changes en masse. So that's just one of those things. If you are sick of exporting reports to Excel and then deleting half the stuff and having to get rid of columns, etc., then that is what you can do there. Those options. So okay, so that's all we wanted to show you on that point there. And then I think the final thing we've got is just to talk about custom reports. Yes, it is. Okay, so essentially with custom reports, you're going to have to get down and dirty in writing database queries. And there's the inbuilt query editor. Again, just going back to the start when we're talking about the security considerations, if you give someone the ability to edit or create custom reports, then they've essentially got a query editor that will expose your entire database. So just make your decisions wisely there. And again, as I said at the start, really reports is not where I've been living for a number of years. So I don't really play much with reports. Custom reports, you may have a use case for them, but more often than not, a grid or a dashboard or whatnot will be a much better option. But there are some options out there that might be a little bit better for a custom report. So I'm just going to do a demonstration of like a call sheet for outstanding debtors. So essentially what I'm going to do is I've got someone that's just coming in. I'm not going to give them access to the system, but I'm just going to get them to get on the phone and call up the customers that owe us money and say, hey, give us the money. So I just want to give them a list so they can just work through that list and make those calls. Um, so I'll go over now into Vision again and go to my custom reports. I've got a couple there already, but I'm just going to add a new one. And yeah, it is a good idea to give the name before you go any further. It's not necessary to do that, but it's just good practice to do that. And then you come into your report designer. On this occasion, I'm just going to do the table report. This is if you are doing custom reports, this would be a good example of if you wanted to find out a bit more about what vertical reports are and crosstab reports are. Google that, DevExpress extra reports, crosstab report, and you'll learn all you need to learn about that. As we go through the wizard, I'm going to go into the query builder. And yeah, essentially, yeah, you've got all of your tables and views. So that's essentially yeah, all of your database tables are available within the query editor. You can sort of build up your own queries by just clicking and grabbing fields from over on this side here. So I could go to the cash book and then add cash book numbers and things like that if I wanted to. But that's pretty fiddly to do. So I prefer to just, yeah, so essentially if I just double click cash book, for example, it'll give me all of the fields that are available. I can then tick and flick which ones I want to put onto my report, and it'll build up my query on the right-hand side there. But I've got a fairly bespoke thing that I want to do, so I'm going to go and edit the SQL. I don't want any of that. And I'm just going to do a bit of a cooking show and pick up a query that I didn't prepare earlier. Sybiz Vision's AI prepared it for me. I was able to describe what I wanted, and I should just say that that's something that's in the works for later on in the year. And again, working with AI comes with a big warning. But yeah, essentially this has built the query up for me. I've said, okay, I just want a list of customers, phone numbers, and what they owe us and when they last paid us. I can go and preview the results in the editor. And then, yeah, I'm happy with that. And again, because I've used AI to produce this query for me, I'd want to go and run an age balance list and just make sure that, yeah, these numbers are as per the age balance list and that it's got it right. Do a couple of spot checks on phone numbers and things like that, which I've already done. So all of this information is as it should be. So now I'm going to OK that and step through the rest of the wizard. I'm going to go next and next, and it's going to ask me what fields do I want. I'm going to say I want all of them, but you choose the order in which you want them. So I'm going to say I want the customer name and then the phone number, the last date they paid us and the outstanding balance, and then I'm going to go next, and it's going to say, okay, do you want to group this report? And so, oh, yeah, I didn't think of that when I wrote my query. So I'm going to go back in the editor, go back to my query. Now, this is something where I just want to add the customer group as well. So I'm going to do a couple of things here. Apologies if you're not following along. This is getting a little bit technical, but I'm just going to say c.group description, and I'm setting myself up for a fail here deliberately. So when I go next and then preview, I'm going to get an error saying that that's not right. So I'm going to have to go back and fix up what I did. And my group description comes from customer expanded, which is a view of customer information. And I'm going to go next and then next. And I want to run the query, and it still has not worked. So what do I I don't know what I've done there. I'm just going to say group code. Actually, I'll go back to run query builder, preview it there. No, if I spelled that right, custom group. Okay, so got a bit mixed up there, but what I can do is I've got all of the views. So you've got the tables at the top and then the views at the bottom. So you can scroll down and go, okay, what is that field called? And there we go, group description. And so that should have worked. Okay, customer expanded. I've got no idea why that's not working, so I'm just going to get rid of that. So apologies for that. Never work with children, animals, or me. Okay. It's one of those things I'm sure it's going to be obvious when I watch the recording. So apologies for that. So I'm just going to step through, grab the fields that I want on the report. Yeah, the rest of my day is going to be fun. The guys won't let me live this down. And then finish to go through to the designer. So it's a similar designer. Yeah, you can muck around from here. I could have done it as a tabular layout. Or whatever else I wanted to do. I can make it pretty, do different formatting, etc. So again, I wouldn't normally use a report for this kind of exercise, but again, you've got the same thing. So we've had a look at transaction documents, reports, and also now custom reports. So you've got the same report designer across all three of those different types of reports within the system. So you can save it and close it and OK. And these custom reports are also available in your report set. So I'm just going to show you a couple points that I have made throughout the session. So when we go to add a new report, I've got my balance sheet here. So even though the balance sheet's already in my report set list, so I've got balance sheet there and balance sheet there, I can edit this one and say, I actually want my bank accounts flavor of that. And then I can also add a custom report. So I can add my call list to that custom report. I can also schedule reports as well to automatically generate. So instead of having to come in and run them, they can be automatically generated as well. So that's pretty much concluded the demonstration. I'll just say yes to that and then jump back to PowerPoint just to finish up. So a couple of other tips and tricks. We did have a look at the aligning of the fields. And again, if it was a bit hard for you to see on your screens, you do have those little pink guidelines that let you know which fields are aligned with which. Multiple selections, we did have a bit of a look at that as well when we were looking at the report headers and exporting to Excel. Save the layout as you go, reduces the chances of conflicts, and export it as well. That just is a good practice whenever you're doing any editing, really. Like I think we've all been through those days of Word documents and forgetting to save and then losing them. No different with report writing. And again, the big thing is just choose the report mechanism that is right for the task at hand. So it's not always a report. Often we'll have customers come to us and say, can you put a report in the system to do X, Y, Z? It's like, well, why do you want a report? Yeah, these days, yeah, it's obviously reports that you need from like a financial perspective, but any sort of operational reports, a traditional report's probably not the right way to go. There are different ways to report on information other than what we've had a look at today. So yeah, thank you for your patience with both my machine and the person at the keyboard, i.e. me. Yeah, so it has gone a little bit longer than we had hoped. If you do have any questions, yeah, if it's to do with DevExpress and stuff to do with the report writer, just jump in your friendly neighborhood search engine and ask away. You can ask your business partners, and you can also, if there's something that you wanted to clarify from the webinar, you can ask us through our web contact form. If you have tuned into previous webinars, in the last probably 4 or 5, we've had a quiz associated with them. Because of the practical nature of today's webinar, we do not have a quiz, so don't go looking for that. And our next webinars are the Sybiz Vision Tax Management Masterclass in a couple of weeks on the 8th of May. And then for our Australian customers, Payday Super and Sybiz Visipay 2610, that will be on Friday, the 26th of May. And then the Australian financial year ends, we'll be conducting that on a Monday, the 26th of June. So thank you again for your time today, and we hope to see you in the next webinar. Cheers.